Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the front shock absorber or struts on a BMW E91. The only specialty tool you're gonna need is spring compressor kit. This video gonna be in depth detail, so DIYers with the beginner level can also do that at home. So let the game begin.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
These BMWs are quite low on the ground, and to lift up the car from front, you're gonna need to lift the car from jacking point first for enough clearance. Then you will be able to slide the floor jack under and lift the car up. In this case, I'm using extra floor jack. If you don't have extra jack, what you can do is to lift the car from the side first and put something solid enough high under the both wheels, which will give you enough clearance. You can use pair of ramps if you have them. Here you can see the lifting point in red circle. Don't use light duty floor jack since the car can tip over on the left or right side due to its weight. I'm using 3-ton floor jack. Lift up the car enough high and put the jack stand under the designated spot on both sides. And make sure the car is on the jack stand nice and solid, and don't forget to put something on rear wheel to block it from rolling. You can also engage the parking brake at the same time. For extra safety, I leave floor jack under just enough high that it's slightly touching the lifting point. Next, we're gonna remove the wheel. I put the wheel under the car for another extra safety. The next step is to remove the brake caliper assembly. You don't have to do that necessarily, but I'm gonna remove that to avoid unnecessary stretch on brake hoses. To do that, you're gonna need to remove two 16mm bolt. You can use S-hook for some kind of wire to hang the caliper out of the way. At this moment, I'm hanging the caliper assembly on spring, but you can hang them anywhere secure or put the caliper on the bucket upside down. Just wanna mention that I have replaced the wheel bearing as well. That is why you don't see brake rotor on it. Next few steps are, we need to remove the sway bar link, dismantle the tie rod end, we're gonna loosen both control arms just to get enough clearance to remove the struts. And then we're gonna remove the bolt to release the clamp where shocks are mounted. It doesn't matter which order you do all these steps. I'm gonna clean up the fasteners with a wire brush and apply some penetrating oil. We're gonna need to remove ABS sensor out of the way. 6mm Allen key needed. Gently pry the sensor out. Disconnect the cable from the clip. First we're gonna remove the sway bar end link. You can see I cannot unscrew the board further without using wrench. You need a 16mm socket and 17mm wrench to hold the through stud on ball joint of the sway bar link to avoid the spinning of stud. Sometimes the end link can be hard to remove. In that case, you can use pry bar under the sway bar and push it up and it will come out. In this case, it was easy. You can see where it was using 17mm wrench. Next step is to remove the tie rod end. You need 21mm socket or wrench and T30 Torx bit to hold the stud from spinning. In some model you don't need to remove the tie rod end, but in this case it needed. It's really stuck. I'm gonna use impact gun. You can see the stud is spinning along with the nut. I don't want to use Torx and wrench method since Torx end is rusty and tends to strip, so I have a trick. You can push the tie rod joint up with the pry bar and it will stop the tie rod and stud from spinning. Here we go, it's out. Next we're gonna remove the board from clamps. You're gonna need 18mm socket for the bolt and 18mm wrench on the other side for the nut. Next we're gonna loosen the bolts from control arm. You might need to remove the plastic panel for the clearance. These plastic covers are bolted with 8 and 10 mm fasteners. Here you can see the bolt. You don't need to remove whole plastic panel, just few bolts to get enough clearance. Now loosen the other control arm. You can see the clamp joint. In order to remove the shock spindle out of the clamp, we need to spread this clamp. You're gonna need a chisel or spreader socket. I'm just showing how this will be done. Before doing that, we need to remove the bolts from the strut mounts on the top. These are 13 mm bolts. Let's unscrew them all. One bolt is under this bar. You're gonna need a wrench for that due to narrow space. We cannot even use ratcheting side for that. You can also remove this upper bar for the clearance, but I chose not to remove that. Next we're gonna unbolt the other two. Here you can see the clearance is not enough to remove the shock assembly. So I need to remove the bolt from control arm completely. In some cars you don't need to do that. I'm gonna remove the plastic cover completely. It makes the job easier. Now we have enough clearance. We can spread the clamp. I'm using spreader socket. Be careful not to scratch the fender when doing this. The shock absorber is out now. Here you can see clearly how this socket works. It's a really little handy tool. Here you can see the strut is leaking. This is why I'm replacing it. These two notches are the guides when putting them into the clamp. There are tons of different types of tools to compress the spring. Here is one of the most common for DIYers, but I don't recommend this type of compressor. It's risky and dangerous. I have used that in my another video. But for this job I'm using this toolkit. It's safer and you can find them on Amazon or eBay for $100. You just need a right size clamp and secure them with a screw and it's ready to compress the spring. But you need to follow the instruction comes with the kit. You can mark the spring and rubber mount for the right alignment. always check the new part if it's matching with the old one. You can see how I put that tool. Make sure clamps are secured properly. For this particular tool, impact gun is not recommended. Other tools brands might allow that, but not this one. Once the springs are compressed, you can now unscrew the bolt. Remove the plastic cover. Here you can see Allen screw to hold the strut bar from spinning while unscrew the nut. This is pass-through kit, very handy for this kind of application. You just need to use an Allen key and the socket to unscrew the nut. But I'm gonna show you another way if you are replacing the old one. You need a vice grip plier to hold the cylinder bar and unscrew the bolt with normal socket. But you should not use vice grip on the new strut cause it can damage the cylinder and can also cause a leakage in future. Now you can remove the strut. You can see this strut has seen its better days. Remove the old dust cover. You might need to replace the old rubber mount with new one, but I'm gonna use this old one. Put the new strut's cushion in and gently install the strut into the spring and align with the marks. You can also see the end of the spring will fit at the end of the rubber mount without any marks, so it's pretty easy. Install the nut back to the assembly. New nut always comes with the package. I'm speeding up the process with the impact gun. I will torque it down with the proper specs. Once the screw is tightened up, now is the time to decompress the spring. And during this process, you can adjust the strut position by spinning it. Make sure spring is decompressed properly into the position. Once the spring is decompressed properly, remove the tool and inspect if everything is proper. Put the plastic cap back. Now reverse the whole process and you are done. Sometimes you need a rubber mallet to persuade the process. The strut needs to be all the way down. You can see the guide spots for proper alignment on the top mount. Okay guys, that's it with the video. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and if it was helpful for you all, consider to subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching. I will see you in another video.